And the project of today is yin and yang. And here I'm creating a matrix. And first of all, thank you very much for coming to my channel. Ahron here, Africanmeat. And today it's a very unique project that I'm doing. It's called yin and yang. So let's go ahead and I'll show you step by step how I do it. Don't forget, of course, to subscribe to my channel and to give me my thumbs up and to put comments at the bottom. I'm going to look for a center for both sides so I can create later. I can use it for my tenants or for my recess. Um, that will be the size of the project. And here, that's how I'm doing my yin and yang. That's how I'm using half of the size of a half, and then the other half for a half, and now you can see I created a yin and yang. And now cutting, I've got two type of wood. One is very light and one is very dark, and that's the one that's going to be created as the yin and yang. The size is 20 by 20 by 20. No, actually it's 20 by 20 by 40. And I'm going to glue them as a matrix, but not one next to another, with a space in between. And in the middle, instead of having a round one, I'm going to put four square ones in the middle. And that's how I'm creating the yin and yang, but with spaces in between, so it will look like it's floating. I'm preparing it now for resin. I'm going to use resin for art. It's going to be see-through resin for art. For this one, I'm using almost 1,3 liters. Some clever guys probably out there will know how to transfer 1,3 liter into gallons. I didn't do it in one pour. I left it overnight, and the next morning I poured again. And with a torch, I removed the outer bubbles. Hopefully, I removed all the bubbles. And now this one will stand for 2 days, just to be on the safe side, so I'm not going to have any surprises. This time I sealed it properly and it did not leak at all. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a recess. And I think I hurt myself. Yep, I cut myself quite bad, and I had to put a plaster. What do you think about my plaster that I used? It's what you calling it? Gorilla plaster. Now the recess didn't come right in center, so I had to put it again in between two centers, square it down, and then create a new recess to work with. Now this time the recess is better, and I'm starting to create, I'm squaring it properly this time all the way to the wood, and this side will be the bottom side of the project, and here I'm going to create, I'm going to put together um, the base and the bottom of the bowl or the plate. Because I've got small pieces of wood and small pieces of resin, I can't create one long string of resin. So the place is full with small pieces of wood and resin, small shavings of wood and resin. The place is a mess. Believe you me, the whole place. My wife's car is behind me, and I'll have to take it to be washed afterwards. Let's square the bottom, the base, and now you can start seeing already the yin and yang. I'm drilling the 20 millimeter, 25 millimeter for my logo, for my brass logo that will go in later. You can see here on my finger the duct tape, the Gorilla duct tape that acts as a very strong plaster for my cut. Maybe it's a good advertising for Gorilla uh, glues and the Gorilla duct tapes. It can also work as a plaster. I don't know, maybe it's a good ad. I'm running on this one, on this project, I'm doing also 180 all the way to 600. And after the 600, I'm going to go with, and between, of course, I'm cleaning with alcohol. And after the 600, I'm going to run with Yorkshire grit. And after Yorkshire grit, I'm going to clean it with a novus. And after I finish with a novus, I'm going to use what you call friction polish. At this stage, I think you can see already the yin and yang. Um, you have to use imagination more than, because it's not a full yin and yang. There is, the matrix got one on, one off, and the one that is on, it's two different colors. So it's not a full yin and yang solid, but to create a three-dimensional, three-dimension and floating squares, I had to do it this way. You'll see the squares are not 100% straight. I didn't try to put them 100% straight. Not that it's a mistake. I wanted to give it a rustic effect. I didn't want to go like by millis because that's not my style. So it gets a rustic effect. To turn it to the other side, I'm going to use a glue, hot gun glue jump chuck that I like to work with. And I'm going to press it in. Of course, I'm using a tape, so I'm not going to damage with the heat, I'm not going to damage the resin. And that's how I'm going to put it on the other side. And from this moment, I have to add on top of that I have to be very careful not to cut myself or not something like that. I just have to pray that the jump chuck, the hot gun jump chuck, is not going to fail on me. side I'm using less force because I'm worried about the jump chuck, the hot glue gun chuck that I've got. So I'm taking it step by step, a little bit smaller steps, just to be on the safe side. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on it. So it takes a little bit longer than the other side. When I checked it properly, I discovered I've got few air bubbles, and I'm just cut into them. So I'm filling them up with the super glue. Hopefully that will solve the problem. Let's see. The first line that I used as 80 sandpaper just to take the marks of the super glue. And from there, of course, the same 120 all the way to 600 in between alcohol. And now I'm going to use a lot of Yorkshire grit. After the Yorkshire grit, novus. And after novus, I'm going to use friction polish. Here you can see already the beginning of the 3 dimension and the floating squares in the resin. Knob that's holding over there, and I'm going to pray to the god of the wood turners to protect it and not fly away from me. And I think that I managed, but now I can't work with support anymore, so I have to be very careful not to work with, because I'm working without support, so it's not going to get loose. So I can't use a lot of force over there. I had to repolish, resand the center, and again put Yorkshire grit and friction polish and everything again, just for the center, a little bit more than that, and then I will take it off very carefully from the chuck, from the hot gun glue chuck. You have to see in the end, when I move it to few directions with the light and with a background, how beautiful I think they came out, and they're floating in the air. So stick around. I'll show you how they float in the air, and then I'll show you some still photos, how it looks on a stand. Yin and Yang. It was a fun project. We worked hard. We had some setbacks, but in a whole, we had, of course, injury. How can I do it without something, the injury with a little bit of blood? Can't do it without it. Let me know if you like it. Let me know what you think about it. If you like it, subscribe to my channel and use my thumbs up. If you don't like it, tell me you don't like it. And put in the comment, what do you think? It's very important for me. And I'm trying to improve, and I'm trying to give you better videos. And look at that, every direction. Now if I go into the light, Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for joining my channel. Cheerio, and I'll see you in my next video.